It's on WOCA The Source every night from 2 to 6 a.m. and it's live.
That's right. No tape shows here.
We know that the news doesn't sleep.
And neither do we. So we're here with you live from 2 till 6 a.m. every weekday. Call us 866-90-RED-EYE. So join me, Gary McNamara.
And me, Eric Harley, every weeknight to discuss the latest in news and entertainment.
Right here on WOCA The Source.
Ocala's information station, 1370 WOCA.
Ocala.
All right, 25 minutes before 10 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in this Thursday morning. Hope you're doing well. When I was much younger, maybe 1970, I'm trying to remember when this was, early 70s anyway, I found a book called The Late Great Planet Earth by Hal Lindsey. And in the book, Hal Lindsey talked about the end of the world as we know it, I guess is the better way to say that. Not the end of the world, but the end of the world as we know it. And he was, of course, for those of you who are Bible prophecy people and fans and experts, you know probably more of this stuff than I do. But at that time, I was really into it. I read the book, and years later, I had the opportunity on this radio show to interview Hal Lindsey, and some of the things he predicted he didn't get right, or at least it hadn't happened according to the timeline he thought would be. You know, and if you're trying to interpret Bible prophecy and make predictions, chances are your readers will forgive you if you don't get the exact date right, because I think everybody knows, even the Bible itself says no man shall know the date or the right. Isn't that? And I'm horrible at quoting the Bible, but that's the idea. Babylon, the way I understand, again, I'm not an expert on this, is where Iraq is now, right? What used to be called Babylon, right? So when the Bible, but it's not Babylon anymore. It's not called Babylon. So is there a Babylon that the Bible is referring to that is not that Babylon? And I've often wondered this myself, actually. Stephen Stillwell called us the other day. He must have heard an interview, I think, is what he said, that we had done. In fact, I think he did call us on another show we were doing, right? He called us on the airline?
Yes.
On the on airline. He's a Christian and an author. His book is called America is Mystery Babylon. Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. Stephen Stillwell, good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning. Great introduction, Larry. Yeah, there's a lot of historical things that we need to look at here.
Yeah, where are you? Where are you calling from, first of all?
Well, little bitty old Mena, Arkansas.
Arkansas.
In fact,
all right.
Yeah, made famous from the Iran-Contra scandal.
Oh gosh.
So are you an end times? I don't want to use the word fan, but I mean, is this something that you've been looking into for a long time? Maybe a scholar is a good word.
Oh, yes, sir. I've studied the Bible. I've been a Christian for 35 years. And the information in my book I've known for a long time, for over 25 years. And I'm very versed in different theological concepts, and there's a lot of opinions out there. I hate to say it.
Does the Bible indicate that the end of the times is inevitable, or does the Bible say, look, it's all going to end unless you clean up your act? Is it? I've always wondered, is that? I mean, does God tell us in the Bible that, look, I'm just going to wipe you all out if you don't stop it, or does he say, I'm going to wipe you out no matter what? What is exactly the reason for the message?
Well, it's a message of choices. We have the ability to do good or evil, and here's one thing: can prophecy be averted? Will God stay His hand of judgment? At times, yes. But once we go beyond a certain point, and here's the thing: once the apocalypse falls into place, and the events begin to unfold, it's irreversible at that point. And Jesus talked about His coming and about the signs. He correlated it to birth pangs. And if you've noticed, these birth pangs seem to be getting a little more severe. In fact, when the disciples asked him, they said, "What's the sign of your coming and of the end of the world?" And this is interesting, and I bring this up to other Christians who say, "Oh, we don't need to worry about these things." And I say, how did Jesus handle the question? He answered their question in great detail. And first of all, he said, he warned them not to be deceived, for many would come in his name and deceive many. And he talked about wars, famines, rumors of wars, pestilences, earthquakes, and violence. And he correlated it also to as of the days of Noah. And when you go back to Genesis and you look at the times of Noah, it says the thoughts in the hearts of men were only evil continually. Look at all the murder that we've had, especially in your state.
Right. Yeah. Well, and
worldwide.
And the idea
globally.
the idea that God would actually make a decision to wipe us all out is already documented. That He did that during the flood. I mean, He wiped us all out with the exception of one family, and then we all started all over again. And
the world had reached critical mass. Yeah, it was unredeemable at that point.
But at that time, unless I'm not understanding it right, we didn't have anywhere near the technology we had now. I know some people say we did, but I don't know that we did. It doesn't look like we did. And so it wasn't like they were dropping atomic bombs on each other. And the other part of this that I wanted to bring up and have you comment on is this, that when the Bible was written, the folks who wrote it, the men who wrote it, didn't know there was this place across the ocean that we can now call America, North and South America. They didn't know about this place. The fact
exactly, it was a mystery continent. Yes.
And so, does the Bible refer to the mystery continent or the mystery Babylon in a way that makes us now say, "Oh my gosh, the Bible is talking about the Americas"?
Oh, exactly. In fact, when it talks about the return of Christ, and this is in the Old Testament, it says it won't be day or night. It'll be summer. It'll be spring. It looks all confused. You're like, is this a riddle? Well, when you take into the whole scope of the world, like right now, it's daytime here. On the other side of the world, we've got morning. On the other side, it's nighttime. It's summer in this hemisphere, but it's winter down in the southern hemisphere.
Yeah.
Right.
And absolutely. And the Bible each time, and I hear so many skeptics. Oh, it's just a bunch of books of stories. No, these are eyewitness accounts. In fact, the apostles they sat with Jesus, they talked with Jesus, they ate with Jesus. And the prophets.
Here's
go ahead.
Here's the thing I wanted to tell you that I've often thought about this subject. 1970, when the late great Planet Earth came out, and that wasn't the first book to give this kind of message. That's just the one I found. Okay.
Sure, I read it 2 years ago.
Okay, so at that time, so I was only 15 years old. Okay, so I was looking at the book, very much concerned. Oh my gosh, the future doesn't look so good, according to this author. Well, as I got a little bit older, I started thinking, you know what? I'm not going to worry about it because I'm going to live. I'm going to live my life. Because before World War II, there were some prophets, you might say, or false prophets, who said that Hitler was the 666 guy, and the world is going to end, and there's going to be fire and brimstone, and so people made the decision not to have children. And so by the time they got too old to have children, and they saw that the world did not end the way these prophets or false prophets said it would, they were regretting not having children. And I thought, you know what? I can't control the world, but I can control my world. To a certain extent, and I'm going to do the best I can, and I'm going to go ahead and have a life and get married and have children. And if God decides to put an end to it all, then I have nothing to say about it. So
yeah.
So do we use the information in any way? In other words, if we know that it's coming to an end, or could come to an end, do we use that information in any way? How do we use it?
Oh, that's a great question. And you know what? The Lord, He gave us the prophecies for preservation of His church and for salvation of His people. It's a safeguard. And this is a sad thing. There's been a lot of Chicken Littles, the sky is falling, and people crying wolf. But you know what? A lot of them haven't interpreted the signs and the prophecies correctly. We need to be very careful. We really do.
Well, I think that's...
I'll get...
Well, I think that's I'm sorry. I think that's what our listeners want to hear from you. They know you're coming on. We promoted the fact that you were coming on. We've gone to your website, and I'm really all ears. Who is the Beast? The Secret of the Seven Seals. There's a whole so many things you have in the book, and the cover even shows New York City. It looks like the Statue of Liberty and the skyline of the city,
and the UN symbol. symbol for the United Nations.
Oh, right. So, answer some of those questions if you could. Who is the beast?
Okay, well, we need to look at prophecy, okay? And here's where some of the other people have gone wrong. And I'm very schooled in eschatology. There's different theologies, different schools of thoughts. You got British Israelism, premillennialism, postmillennialism, all-millennialism, pre-tribulation, mid-tribulation. There's just so many opinions. But where people go wrong, we need to study the historical accounts, especially Daniel and Revelation. Those books should be read together and compared. But one thing that was really interesting, and this is where people get in trouble, they try to redefine some of the symbols that have already been defined. And when Daniel, he had his visions and dreams, and the same with St. John the Divine, they didn't understand fully what they saw. And the Lord sent angels to them to give them the interpretation. And as I said, this is where some of the theologians go wrong. The angel gives them an interpretation, and some of these theologians think that they're smarter than the angel, and they try to redefine a symbol, and that's why there's so many opinions. We have to be led by the Spirit, and we have to really analyze all these details, look at everything. But the beast is two things according to Scripture, okay? In Daniel chapter 7, verses 17 and 23, the beast is two things. It represents kings and kingdoms. And it mentions four of them in Daniel, okay? The first being ancient Babylon, okay, and the kingdom of Nebuchadnezzar. And let me fast forward a little bit here. Mystery Babylon will actually be a type and picture of ancient Babylon, but it will be located in an entirely different region, okay? And I discuss that in my book. That chapter is titled The Plain of Shinar, and I show the correlation between the locations. See, Babylon was located between the Tigris and the Euphrates rivers. Guess where the UN headquarters is located? Between the East and the Hudson rivers. And I have a detailed map that shows photographs of both of those next to one another. Very, very, very interesting indeed. But the UN is a world government. And it's been hiding in plain sight for a long time. In fact, the revived Roman Empire theology I was schooled in that, was taught it, and I refute it very easily in my book. Because one thing, here's something interesting. When we look at the Antichrist, his arrival in chapter 8 in the book of Daniel, it says he waxes to the south, to the east, and to the pleasant land or glorious land, which I believe is Israel, okay? Why doesn't it mention the Northwest? And a lot of people, they miss that because he's going to, according to Scripture, he's going to rule the world. And it's going to be handed to him on a silver platter. He's going to rule the world.
Okay, you could argue he already does.
So anyways, here's something interesting. What hemisphere is the UN headquarters in? The Northwest Hemisphere. But this is in my book, too. When Mystery Babylon is destroyed, there's actually 3 contingent sites for the UN to fall back on. One is in Geneva, Switzerland, which Switzerland, this is interesting, they opted out of the European Union years ago. They've always maintained a position of neutrality, but look at them, they've got a UN headquarters right in the borders of their country. And then Vienna, Austria is the other site, and get this, Nairobi, Kenya is the third.
Really?
So they could move any site,
wow.
Yes. And this is in my book also. Like I said, I've done a lot of research.
The book is called America is Mystery Babylon. Our guest is the author of that book, Stephen E. Stillwell. He is going to stick with us through the break, I hope. So we'll take a little break, Stephen. If you hang in there, we'll take a little break and be right back. We've got weather and a few commercials, and we'll be right back.
Great, Larry. Thanks.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. Partly sunny today, hot with highs of 93 to 95. Patchy clouds tonight with lows of 73 to 76. Partly sunny with an afternoon thunderstorm for tomorrow and Saturday. Highs will be between 91 and 94 degrees for both days. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm Heather Zayer.
Hi, I'm Seth with AA Lock, Dock, and Security. Have you ever thought about the locks or security on your house or business? Have you ever wondered why the keys to your new car cost so much? Well, at AA Lock, Dock, and Security, we can help with securing your valuables. We can even replace those expensive transponder keys. We can give you the knowledge that no one else will. Call AA Lock, Dock, and Security at 867-1965. That's 867-1965.
Hi, my name is Erica Olstein. I'm a doctor of acupuncture and oriental medicine. Do you have a gout-ridden toe or bowels that move too slow, creaky knees, or how about an asthmatic wheeze? Then acupuncture is sure to please. Come visit me, your primary care physician, Erica Olstein, at A Better You Healthcare. Call me at 352-615-5566. That's 352-615-5566.
Hi, I'm Leah Caruso with Strive Rehabilitation, inviting you to join me Thursday at 11 a.m. for Health Matters. Ocala Health and Strive have teamed up to bring you the latest information on good health services available to you right here at home. This vital information will help you make informed decisions about your health. So don't forget to join me here at 11 a.m. Thursday. It's news you can use from Ocala Health, Strive, and your friends here at WOCA.
Central Florida Eye Institute is the area's leader in laser vision correction. From high-definition refraction surgery and LASIK vision correction to custom cataract, glaucoma, and diabetic treatment, you can count on Dr. Crowley and his effective, friendly staff to provide you with the quality care you deserve. Call 352-237-8400 for an appointment or more information. That number again is 352-237-8400. Looking forward to service your vision needs.
Putting the local back into radio. 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. WOCA News. Variety. Information. Now. Keep your arms and legs on the inside at all times.
All right, 9 minutes before 10 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. Fascinating conversation. Stephen Stillwell is our guest. He is on the phone. His book is called America is Mystery Babylon. We are talking about biblical prophecy. We were talking earlier about Hal Lindsey a little bit and the late great planet Earth. I wanted to ask you, Stephen, real quickly about the 3 W's that we use for the internet. And I've read a couple times that is the 666 that the Bible's talking about, and I don't know. I mean, I could see where the internet could be a bad thing, but everything can be good or bad. Mm-hmm. I see a lot of good on the internet as well. I mean, your book is on the internet.
Oh, yeah, exactly, Larry. And there's a lot of theories, but let me tell you what the mark of the beast is. And it's in my book. I go into great detail and explain this topic. It's the exact opposite of the seal of God. The seal of God is the authenticity of salvation. In other words, we were bought with a price, and that price was Jesus on the cross, his death, burial, and resurrection, okay? Well, when we come to Christ, we belong to him, okay? That's why he refers to his church as the bride. Well, guess what? The Antichrist wants to have a bride. Satan wants to have a bride. And the only difference is we come to Christ freely, but when the mark of the beast is implemented, it represents ownership. And actually, the devil is going to force people to make a decision. So when this time of trouble begins, there's not going to be any fence setters. You're going to be on one side or the other. Yeah. You're going to make a decision.
You know, when I see stories in the news, about how we're having racial divides in this country and other things of that nature, and then I look at my own town, my own life, my own family, my own work environment, and I don't see that same racial divide, I think the media is in some way at least being controlled by the devil. I mean, it's like holy cow! They're not reflecting life really. You know, they're focusing on some bad circumstances and then making it seem like this is the way that it is, and it's not that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in fact, there's an agenda here, and it's called order through chaos. They want to create chaos. And that's why we're seeing the influx of all these immigrants. Some of them aren't even vetted. Some of them they're hardcore terrorists. I hate to say it. And what they want to do is bring chaos to our streets. That way they have the solution, the New World Order. Let's abolish the First Amendment, suspend the Constitution, let's abolish the Second, let's just go right down the whole thing. In fact, let's bring everybody under a one world order under the United Nations. And that's their goal.
And do you think there's a way to prevent that?
Well, the way it looks right now, and let me share this, Larry. You know, I don't want to come off as a crackpot here. In fact, I'm a former police officer. When I was in the military, I had a secret clearance. I've passed every type of stringent security and psychological screening a man can have, okay? But let me tell you, from what God has shown me, we're on an irreversible course. I hate to say that. Just you go to church, and 90% of the churches are empty, and the ones that are full, they're preaching just a watered-down gospel, a prosperity gospel.
But Stephen, when we say we are on an irreversible course, and you take the magnifying glass and look closely at that word "we," I see I see myself in that "we," and I know from the Bible that God is okay with saving one person or one family, because He did it with Noah.
Oh, absolutely.
He did it with Noah. He did it in Sodom and Gomorrah, right?
Yeah.
There will be some people, so you don't have to be part of that, and that's the good news, isn't it?
In fact, here's the good news. It comes down to a personal decision. Who are you going to serve this day? And that's what the book of Revelation's about, choices, as I said. So who are we going to serve? Just because the world's, going down an ominous path, it doesn't mean that we have to, and I refuse to. I pray every day. I try to serve the Lord. I try to be kind to my fellow human being. Try to live by the golden rule and practice what Christ shared at the Sermon on the Mount. That's how we have to live. But let me say this about end times, okay? Because like what you were saying about the people who predicted Hitler was the Antichrist, and there's many, many predictions. In my book, I think I nail it. Jesus said, if those days had not been shortened, no flesh would be saved. Speaking about the end times, okay? And here's the difference. This generation possesses nuclear, chemical, and biological weapons. No other generation did until now. We have the ability to destroy ourselves, and that's exactly what could happen if God doesn't intervene in the very, very end. Man will be at the brink of annihilating themselves when Jesus returns.
And it seems like that's doing it now. I mean, it's not, weapons are here, but there are also words. I mean, look at the presidential convention. They're so hateful toward each other. Even the president isn't standing up for all the people in America. He's just standing up for his own party.
I thought you got to have a sense of humor too. I mean, if I maintain a level of intensity like this all the time, sometimes I got to laugh. And I was thinking this morning when I woke up, I said, "No wonder these people don't suffer from spontaneous combustion and just burst into flames when they're lying on stage and just spreading their rhetoric. It's a mess."
If you look at the world around you and you believe you can make a good difference, and you just do whatever you can, they always say it's not about the works, but I think the works are important. I think the works are really important. Obviously, salvation doesn't come from works. There's no evidence of that.
Amen. It's grace, and unfortunately, a lot of people try to work their way to heaven. You can't.
And so, since that grace was already paid for by Jesus, this is what we're taught in Sunday school, etc. Right? Jesus is on the Jesus is on the cross, and He says, "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they are doing." And he doesn't say, "Forgive those who believe in me." He says, "Forgive them, forgive every one of them." And so I think that the end of the world, as you're talking about, if this comes to be, if what is predicted in the Bible and by Bible prophecy people comes to be, then I don't know that everybody's going to be washed down the drain as they were during Noah's time. I think they'll be washed of their sins, period. And the people who want to do harm will put down their weapons and have a new heart. That's what I think. I don't think He's going to just walk, because otherwise we'd all be dead, because we've all sinned.
Yeah, we have. But, the Bible does talk about the mark of the beast. And as I said, people are going to be forced to make a decision. Are they going to serve Satan and the Antichrist or Christ? So those times are coming. But let me say this in my book, okay, because, a lot of people have gotten themselves in trouble with predictions, with date setting. I stay away from that. But I do talk about some specific things that are mentioned in Scripture. And when those things happen, we're going to know exactly where we're at on the biblical time frame. We will know. And at that point, they will be irreversible.
Stephen, we're out of time, but let me just thank you, first of all, for coming on to the show with us. The book is called America is Mystery Babylon. The website is americaismysterybabylon.com. That makes it easy. The book is on Amazon, correct?
Yes, sir, on Amazon.com. if you have trouble searching for it, type in America's Mystery Babylon and my last name, Stillwell, Stillwell.
Thank you.
If anybody would like me to preach at their church, please contact me. I'd be happy to come share.
And is your contact information on the website?
Inside the book, actually, it is the number for the ministry, but I can give it out if you got a second. My number is 479-394-5058.
Okay.
479-394-5058.
Stephen Stillwell, thank you for being on there with us. This is WOCA Ocala. We'll be right back.
70 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. President Obama making the case for Hillary Clinton to succeed him in the White House, saying